Hello. I guess this would be Detachment from Ed 6, because I think we're on 6, if not 5. So this is something that I feel like I've never even talked about, but it maybe just a little bit, just vented with you guys. I've never talked about how I deal with it or how, what I think of it, but whatever I missed, or if you know a different way around it, please share it in the comments for everybody, because we all need help. Nobody knows everything about anything, so if you feel like you have nothing to share, you're wrong. We all know something everybody else could benefit from, so just letting you guys know. So the topic is basically just eat. You know what I mean? People that say just eat when they know you have an ed, and this shit pisses me off. Every time I think about it, it's strange, because it's already hard enough at telling anybody that you are suffering from an eating disorder. It's not something we tend to be proud of. I've never been proud of it. I know people that wanted to have an ed just because they thought it would make them skinny, and at the time I was very ashamed in myself, because I thought, dang, they really, just because I've hit rock bottom, they think that we're all like this. I had an ed far longer than I showed any signs of an ed. It was in and on since I was in middle school, so it was just weird that people are instead of them being ashamed of making those kind of comments, we're ashamed of being sick. Other stuff I've heard too was when I actually mentioned to people, I do have an ed, and I am embarrassed of it, because it's, especially with mental illness and disorders as it is, you can't just say you have something, because, especially psychologically, because it's not acceptable. And it's even worse with parents are critical, or that came from very extreme poverty, and kind of like the Maslow's archery of needs. If they couldn't even meet the bare minimum of needs, when you tell them about your psychological issues, they're gonna think it's the dumbest shit ever. They're not gonna take it seriously, and it's not just parents, it's people in general. People that don't even consider the fact that they could have multiple disorders or mental psychological issues. If they didn't find it upon themselves to try to track their own struggles, they're not gonna accept or even try to understand our own, if that makes sense. What I heard was one of the worst ones was I had somebody that was struggling with stress and was throwing up because of stress, and she had known about my ed recently. I had told her about it, and I didn't want to tell her about it, but I had to, because it was gonna I felt like it was gonna come to light from another person. So I told her about it, and she was having these stress issues with throwing up, and she said she was complaining about it to me, venting, and she said, it's not like I'm doing this on purpose. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm doing it to lose weight. I'm not doing it on purpose. And I never addressed it with her, that was kind of a low blow to me, because we don't pick an eating disorder. We don't pick it. I don't want one. I didn't want to constantly think about the amount I'm eating, and think about how I should not be eating, and how I don't deserve to eat every time, and constantly think about food. I didn't pick this. And we hear it with psychologists and therapists. We don't pick it. I know it's crazy, but the thing is, people that say this stuff, I never confronted this person about it, because as soon as they say stuff like this, even as little as just eat, or you look sick, eat something, it comes from ignorance. It really does. It comes from ignorance and carelessness, and sometimes even selfishness. And we have to understand that almost like, yes, get angry, and you are allowed to feel like betrayed and, you know, really annoyed. I was so angry for a long time. I'm still angry thinking back at it and like, damn. But now I'm starting to realize I'm glad they showed themselves for who they really were. You know, if a person is sick with something different than me, it's like, especially if it's psychological or a generic sickness, like even just a cold, I try to search up what would make them better and come up with solutions or helpful ways to help them. But not everybody's like that. That's the thing. Not everybody is going to care. It sucks, but it's really something we have to realize. It's in our place it's in our responsibility to try to get better. And if you know a person that would say, just eat, you know, make stupid, ignorant comments about your ed, do not tell them about your ed. Don't tell that person. Tell the person that's supportive and will search up how to help you, what not to say, will feel genuinely guilty for saying something weird, you know, like, oh, you're eating a lot. You know what I mean? Like weird shit you're not supposed to say to somebody with struggling, or, you know, somebody that's counting calories. Like, just we need to stay away from these people and realize that even if it feeds our inner ed voice, try to identify the fact that this is unhealthy. This person is unhealthy. They're not your person. It's hard to accept that because a lot of the people I wanted to be close to, I wanted to be accepted, but being around them was making my ed stronger and it was making me weaker. And realizing that it's not we do not have to absorb everything people say and take it as if it's fact and it's true and they're, you know, everything they say is it's the right thing. It's wrong. We need to realize that although words have power, we can remove that power from them. We can actually change the actual meaning. And for example, when she said that to me, I was angry at first. For a long time I was angry. Actually, I didn't say anything because even at that moment I knew that it was pointless. She was not gonna understand that was hurtful. You know, it's hurtful to say something like that. And like the other, a different person saying, you know, my manager, my supervisor, the one I talked about in a different, like, long time ago video from an old place, she would say, you need to eat or you won't be able to have children. And it's like, oh, you know, who gives a shit about the fact that I could die? But, you know, my future kids, because that's all we're good for. Like, you know, who gives a shit about my health? Like, I shouldn't eat because of my health, type of thing. And yes, I took it that way, but it's because I don't want kids. And the fact that she just assumed that just because I'm a woman, you know, and because that's all she did with her life that she wanted to do, that means everybody wants to do, you know what I mean? So it was just really annoying. But also she just kept bringing it up, like, why aren't you eating? You need to eat to have kids. And if I dared say I don't want kids, she'd be like, why don't you want kids? They're the best joy. You know what I mean? It was just really annoying. So a lot of the times I would tell myself, do not engage with these people, do not say anything. I actually, with specific people, and you know who these people are, think of the person that makes your ed worse because it might have triggered something in you, or they're not a good person. They're not a person I feel like this is how you identify good people. But there's a lot of ways, honestly. How you feel about this person. If you feel like you have to hold your tongue and walk on eggshells and quiet yourself, you can't just speak freely and be, you know, yourself around this person, that's not a good person for you. Another one is when you go through something bad, is this person there to make you feel better or to kind of take some of that sadness and share it? You know what I mean? Like, especially if this person cries with you or this person lets you cry or, you know, stuff like that. That's how you can identify a person that's good for you. Obviously, these type of people won't be the same person every time. You can't expect one person to do all of this, you know, for you. Or like you wouldn't be you wouldn't be that person that does everything for that one other person, like for your friend. You can't be a shoulder to cry on for everybody, but you can still be a good supportive friend. And another one is, if something good happens to you, are they genuinely happy, or is there something weird about how they are when something good happens to you? And this could be anybody. That's the scary thing. It could be anybody. So just be careful with those people. Like, for example, I know my best friend, when something good happens to me, I know she would not be like overjoyed. You know, like, I know she wouldn't be like overjoyed and like super expressive and celebrate with me, but that's because I know she's not like that. Like, she's not even like that with herself, and I'm not like that either. So it's like, it doesn't make her a bad person, it doesn't make me a bad person, it doesn't make you a bad person, it just doesn't make us that like a party person, you know, like celebrating all. That doesn't mean I can't be happy for her, you know what I mean? Like, when she bought a house, I was super happy for her. I even kept thinking about it, like, oh my god, I can't believe she bought a house. But I wasn't like, when I went to her house, I wasn't like, oh my god, you know, like, sometimes it's hard. But I do tend to cry when other people cry, like when they tell me a situation, you know. But we all have strengths, and we all have like we can't be that person for everybody, type of thing. And I also like being there for people when they're going through a tough time. I feel like I can help, like I can guide people through hardships. So that's what I want, you know. I want what I can. If you want to find out if you're a good friend, is, would you be friends with yourself, how you are, you know? Would you like that? Would you appreciate it? And if you know somebody that's not supportive with stuff like this, I'm pretty sure the way you could also know is, if they were going through an ed or something like this, would they be treating it the same way as they're treating it with you? You know what I mean? And obviously people tend to go take things more seriously if it affects them, so that makes sense. But even just a little bit, you know, like, I know the damn right, if that girl that I went to work with her, a friend of a friend that became kind of my friend a little bit, she had said, I wish I had an ed, looking straight at me, but talking to her friend that we shared. And she said, I wish I had an ed so I would be skinny. And I was in one of my like lowest points. I was very, very sad. I was going through a lot with my toxic, like the toxic relationship I was in, and I just felt, I also had dropped out of school, and I just felt useless. I felt stupid, I felt bad, I felt uncomfortable, and that just made it worse, because it's like, oh, if only it was that easy. You think it's all about weight, and it's all about being, you know, that's the thing with people. These people aren't worth it. And I'm pretty sure that she would not be saying that if she knew how hard it really was. Like, it's not this like extreme, oh my god, I'm so good at being disciplined. No, dude, I'm overboard. We're overboard. We don't know how to be disciplined. And that's another part of it. We can talk about control and ed having to do a lot with our, you know, need for control. We keep trying to. But for now, like, I think this is one of the biggest things we all have in common, because I don't even know why I haven't talked about it, but finding supportive people or a support system is so important. I found it with you guys, and I hope you guys found it with me, because it's really freaking hard to find supportive people, especially when you want to go for recovery. A lot of people that are struggling with ed, you know, you don't know if they'll say they're recovering one day, and then the next day they're very quiet about it. And it's like, you can't just be like, hey, I thought we were gonna recover. You can't do that, because it has to be them who choose it. So it's nice to have a place where we're all basically recovering, you know what I mean? We're all choosing recovery. We're not, and yes, we might have bad days, but at the end of the day, it's always the same. We're always committed to being, you know, let's recover. Let's stop viewing food as something connected to our morals, basically. I'm not a bad person if I eat fries, you know? And it's hard to like get that out of my head. A big difference is support. So I don't think I would be getting better or even choosing recovery if I didn't have this place, basically. I don't think I would, because I feel like you guys keep me in line, and also in the nicest way possible, because I don't work well with people being rude. Like I'm a very sensitive person, and I work off of positivity, and I think everybody should. If you don't, that's kind of weird, you know? Like, we should all be happily choosing to recover, or happily try to do something we want to do, not be bullied into it. I've always thought that was weird with people that actually like that. But yeah, you cannot trust everybody to be your supportive person. That's why some of you are here, and I'm sorry if you have nobody. I don't have anybody in my real life that cares that much at all. I don't think one person in my life, in like this world, like physically here, has ever searched up what not to say to somebody with an ed, because everybody has slip-ups, and I get it. It's like, why should I'm not that important. I know I'm not. I'm definitely a side character in this world over here, like even in my own story, and it feels really weird to be like not considered, because I know damn well, like, everybody that I'm, you know, my family, my friends, everybody I've ever like cared about, everything they've struggled with, I've searched it up to try to help them out and to also try to understand them. But not one person has taken the time even to just be like, hey, do you want to talk about what happened, like what's going on with you? Even when I like finally opened up about, you know, like, yeah, I have an ed and I'm like embarrassed about it, and I'm dying to talk about it, because it's like, I really wish I had support, but it's hard to find, and you can't force it on people. I can't be like, hey, care about me, you know what I mean? It's weird. And I think that's in a lot of ways what can lead you in the wrong direction, because you want to be cared about so badly. But and then the worst part is when Ed's the only one who doesn't leave you. It's like, dude, you're the only one who doesn't abandon me, but you're killing me, so that's freaking awkward. The person that didn't leave you was you also. That we're starving, the you that we're constantly betraying by, you know, listening to everybody's bullshit instead of trying to get better. It's sad. I'm so tired of it. If people are gonna not support you and betray you when they can, even little jabs with their stupid, ignorant comments, why are we doing it too, you know? If it hurt when they did it, it should also hurt when we do it. So let's just stop. Let's stop. There's enough bad guys in this world, or enough people that don't care. So just be careful with who you admit to this, especially if you are an adult with ed. I feel it gets really complicated when you're suffering from an ed when you're an adult, because everybody's very pushy about how you're supposed to be mature and you're supposed to be, you know, not doing anything that's like considered questionable in any way, which is weird, because it's like, last time I checked, there's other addictions or disorders that when an adult has that, nobody bats an eye and takes it seriously. But if it's an ed, it's like, dude, aren't you too old for that? You know what I mean? That's another comment. But again, it's almost like I want to see it as like a blessing in disguise. I hate to be that person that says that, but when people say bullshit, ignorant comments, or even when they know it's bullshit and they say it, they still do it, it's kind of I'm not a good person for you, you know? They're kind of showing you who they really are. And it's a good thing, because that way you don't have to tell them all your vulnerabilities and open up about how much you're really struggling or how good you're doing, because regardless of how it's going, they don't want to know. And even if they did, they could sabotage it. So just be careful. Be very careful. Obviously, there are people that are good in this world, surprisingly. Hard to find, because they're probably feeling the same way as we are. We're kind of like, you know, we're like, who is the only good person around? Like, who actually cares? And, you know, it's hard to find them, but they are there. And I mean, could you blame them? We're struggling too, so it's like, you don't know. Never really know. I'm getting my coffee. I'm freezing. Even in suburbia, I'm getting wretched as hell. I've been thinking about this all day, dude, at work, and it's been pissing me off. Just thinking back at everything people have said, and even the people that, like, I know damn well if I would have said this type of shit in the way that fits their issues, people would have been so pissed off at me and, like, never let me, like, they would have never forgiven me for it. I don't even know if you can hear me because I have my damn heater on. I'm so hungry right now. Probably because I'm pissed off. Do not trust everybody with this disorder, okay? It's, a lot of people are really freaking rude, and they're, even just like ignorance makes you, like an old man, dude. What are you looking at, bitch? Sorry, I'm pissed off. I don't know why. I just get pissed off even more naturally. Like, lately, the more I get older, the more I turn into my freaking dad. It's disgusting. So yeah, I was telling you guys to be careful who you tell this, and it sucks because, you know, the worst part is, it's even worse, honestly. I'm thinking about it, and it's like, if I would have told anybody about it when I was underage, like, you know, not an adult, about my ed, and they would have used it against me, it would have been so much worse. Because it's like, what do you do right now? Like, as an adult, I could just distance myself from them, but when you're a child or like a teenager, chances are you can't really distance yourself. Dude, I'm so pissed off with people watching me, like, so while I'm talking to myself in my car, leave me alone. I'm too pissed off. See, this is why sometimes I like to get mad, because I don't care what people think. My social anxiety goes out the window because I'm too pissed off, or my anger ate my social anxiety and shit it out. Like, it's crazy. Maybe I should get angry more often so I can just do whatever I want, but I'm pretty sure people will hold that against me. So yeah, just be careful, guys. And if it has happened to you, let me know in the comments, like, how'd you dealt with it? Like, how'd you, you know, like, for example, if I'm dealing with somebody that says some ignorant shit, I kind of just, like, jot it down in my head. Like, I save that information, you know, like, oh, you're that type of person, let me never tell you anything again. Like, whatever, you know? I don't have time to be like, how dare you, you know? It's pointless with stupid people. If you are the type of person that uses people's disorders and psychological issues against them, or throws jabs at them after you knew what they have, you're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit, and karma's gonna get you big time, okay? And if karma doesn't get you, I will. No, I'm just kidding. Imagine if I did, if I just zoomed in and punched them in the face. Oh my god. But yeah, surprisingly enough, this Thanksgiving was too awkward for it to be, you know, triggering. I hate that word. What should we replace triggering with? That's super cringe. But yeah, please let me know how you guys deal with stuff like this, like stupid comments, like, just eat, or just, like, man up. Like, ew, dude. Like, first of all, I'm more of a man than any of the people. By the way, anybody who says man up is a little bitch. They're just projecting. Because in this day and age, you know, men aren't shit. Like, they're just as stupid as everybody else. We're all dumb. Can we just stop? This whole, like, man up or women up, they're trying to make it like, you know, when I would have managers tell me to man up, or old people at work to man up, I'd be like, but I'm not a man. And then he'd be like, women up then. Like, ew, you really think I'm gonna care what, like, oh my god, let me just be strong now. No, shut the hell up. I can cry if I want to. If I want to cry, I'm gonna cry. If I want to be sensitive, I'm gonna be sensitive. It's always the people that talk the most shit that are the most saddest at the end of the day. At least we don't lack self-awareness, and we admit to ourselves that we have a problem, because that's the first step, and they're not even there yet, and they're never gonna be there. I'm gonna go eat everything in the kitchen, so it's very important business. Some of you will probably understand if, you know, you can do this now. It's so nice to not worry about binging and purging. And I feel like this is the first Thanksgiving when I don't worry about it, because there's other things I'm thinking about, and when you have an ed, you can't just not think about that. That's your only thought, you know? Everything else is in the back of your head, but ed's in the front. And there is such a thing as, you know, not focusing on food like that. Trust me, I'm there, and it's crazy. I didn't think it would be there, but what you feed grows, so make sure you feed yourself. And I don't mean to be, you know, as a pun. It genuinely is, it literally is like that. If you feed yourself and your happiness, it will grow. And distance yourself from pieces of shit people that are not only not supportive, because, you know, fine, don't be supportive or helpful in any way, but they're there to knock you down and keep you down. So just be really careful with those people. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.